Okay guys, so in this video we're going to talk about Apple stock, and the reason why I want to talk about Apple today is simply because the iPhone 12 release date is coming up on October 13th, and I think that this is a huge catalyst for Apple stock. Now we all remember last month's event where Apple talked about their iPad and their Apple Watch launches, and the stock kind of sold off quite a bit. And one of the reasons why I think that reception was so, kind of a negative catalyst for the stock is simply because people want to hear about iPhones. So even though iPhone sales haven't been growing as fast as they have in the past, I think that iPhone is still the main product for Apple. And I think when people think about Apple products, they mainly think about iPhones. So let's talk a little bit more about that actual launch date that's coming up. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the actual iPhone 12. So I'm on 9 to 5 Mac, and as you can see here, they're basically discussing basically the updates on the iPhone 12 launch. So as you can see, Apple announced an event on the October 13th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That'd be 1 a.m. Eastern Time. So guys, you can actually watch this live streaming on YouTube. Just go to Apple's channel at the date at around 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for New York time. You guys will be able to watch this live. And the reason why I think it's so interesting is because I thought it was very interesting that Apple actually split up the event. So usually they talk about all their products in one event, but for this time they actually delayed the release of the iPhone 12, and I think they kind of did that to give it more attention so people could really focus on it, because it would have been really hard to squeeze in the iPhone 12, the iPad, and the watch all at the same time. So as you can see here, a new phone launch is obviously a huge catalyst for Apple stock because people are going to be upgrading their phones. And I think a lot of people are going to be looking towards this phone. While this, this channel isn't too much about tech products and things like that. If you guys wanted to check out one of the best tech channels out there, there's a YouTuber called Marcus Brownlee. He goes by MKBHD. You can check out his channel. He has a video a bit on iPhone 12 and things like that. But basically, what I think that's interesting about this iPhone is simply that they're coming out with multiple versions. So they're coming out with one of the lower priced iPhones. I was watching a couple of videos and they said that the iPhone could be priced at around $699, which is, it's kind of like an iPhone 12 mini. And I think that this is just another interesting price point in how Apple has really adapted to kind of, basically a pandemic. Okay, I think it's interesting how Apple is adapted to like a pandemic world where people are just not willing to spend as much money on, phone, and they're giving people plenty of choices. So as you can see here, they're basically coming out with 4 different phones: the iPhone 12 mini, the iPhone 12, the iPhone Pro, and the iPhone Pro Max. And they're going to be setting the iPhone, it looks like they're going to be setting the entry-level price to around $699. So we're not exactly what the pricing is going to be, but I think that's one of the cheapest iPhones that will actually be available, and they're going to be offering a lot of different options. So why is this important for shareholders? Well, if we to go back to the stock, okay, so we're at the stock chart here. We can see that after the split, Apple shares did dip quite a bit, and for some of you guys that bought here at the top, you're probably wondering what's going on. You're down quite a bit. Well, the good thing is that you don't really want to trade in and out of Apple. Now, obviously, if you guys are really good at timing the markets, more power to you. But studies have shown historically that it's much better to just, a company like Apple, this isn't like some small penny stock where you're wondering if they're going to be around in a couple of years. This isn't a company that's struggling to make sales. So this is usually a company that you just want to actually not just buy on dips, but buy regularly. So I was on the phone with talking to Fidelity, and I was asking them about the validity of a study that they said they took place in around 2003 to 2013. They were tracking the performance of some of the best performing accounts, and I was talking to one of the equity traders on on the phone, and they were talking about that some of the best performing accounts they've seen have been accounts that basically just bought a stake in a company and basically forgot about it. So he was talking about one account, someone bought Apple stock in 2007, completely forgot about the stock, and then when they went to their account this year, they had over $1 million in the account. So why do I mention this? Well, I think a lot of people get anxious when they buy a stock and it doesn't go up right away, and it's just normal in the short term to have volatility, right? So, one of the most important quotes I've read about is that, in the short term, the stock market is a voting machine, but in the long term, it's a weighing machine. So as you can, so to illustrate this point, if we take a look at the chart here, we can see that, the stock is down and then it's up and then it's down, right? So in the short term, it looks like, wow, it's Apple's kind of risky. If I bought it at the split, I'm down, I'm losing money. Why is this happening? So this is a year-to-date chart. Now let's take a look at Apple's all-time chart. And as you can see here, the story is much different. So over the long term, we have exponential growth. And the reason why this is happening is that this is basically the flywheel effect. Apple has a great flywheel effect in their company where they're making a ton of money selling iPhones and different products, but they're also making money with their services business. So this is why you're seeing this exponential growth line. It's starting off going up and up, and then the price is just skyrocketing. So now I wanted to talk a little bit more about why this effect is happening. So if we just head over to Yahoo Finance. So I'm at Yahoo Finance. As you can see, this company is basically a $2 trillion company that actually pays a dividend, and a dividend that's actually a rising dividend that they've been increasing for the last several years. And the stock is only trading at a PE ratio of around 34. And I want to show you guys some of the key statistics why it makes Apple such a profitable company. Okay, so as you numbers on Yahoo Finance. So one of the key numbers I like to look at Apple is profit margin. It's a 21% profit margin, just phenomenal there, and 273 billion in revenue. And yeah, I mean, with those types of strong numbers, they're bringing in over 273 billion, and their profit margin is 21%. They have a great balance sheet. They're holding 93 billion in cash, and they're paying a forward dividend. And don't overthink this. Apple is a cash cow. They always update their products. And they have, over 500 million people signed up for their services business. That services business is going to grow phenomenal. They're really strategic on how they get new customers. They get free trials and people get hooked in and things like that. And we're just at the beginning of streaming. There's still a lot of cord cutting left to do, and things like Apple Plus, Netflix, all these companies are going to take off during this decade, where streaming is just, I think it's going to eventually eclipse cable, and cable is basically going to be forgotten about, where streaming is just on-demand content. It's just so much better. In fact, you guys are watching this on YouTube because you want on-demand content. And even, me recently, I've been watching a lot of TV on YouTube. So I even think YouTube TV is the future. So the fact that Apple has got basically got their business is diversified now. They're not just an iPhone seller. They do lots of different things. So then the last thing I want to talk about is those trailing returns. So I think, like I said, looking at this long term, if you're selling, you're buying and you're selling in and out of Apple stock too much, and you sell it off and you dump it, this could be a mistake in the long term. Okay, so I think this is one of the hidden gems. I mentioned this a ton on my channel, and I really advocate checking out these numbers, because this helps kind of quell any emotion. So as I mentioned earlier, I said the stock market is a weighing machine over the long term, and that's what Warren Buffett said. And if you take a look at trailing returns, it's true. So this is Apple's trailing returns. So as you can see here, Apple's had a pretty good year, up 57%, but over the last 15 years, they've done 32% compounded annual growth rate. So, this is a stock where, like I mentioned, I talked to the Fidelity Equities trader. He's found accounts where people literally bought Apple stock, forgot about it for like 10, 15 years, came back to their account, and they had millions of dollars in it. And why is this effect happening? Well, it's just a simple compound effect. Anytime your investment is going to grow around 27% over 10 years and 32% annually over 15 years. Anytime you're having anything like 20 plus compounded annual growth rates, that account is going to increase in a hurry. And, Apple's just recently done a stock split and things like that. So this is probably the top retirement stock. I have this is my top holding in my retirement account. It's just Apple is so simple to understand. I don't want to overthink this. One of the, like I said, mentioned earlier, one of the best things about investing is actually investing and kind of just not logging into your account so much, not doing too much trading. So for the people that are wondering whether Apple is going to kind of recover from this small dip in price, absolutely. They've got so many different products planned, and the company is just so well run. The management's excellent. They have a wide moat. A lot of people that buy Apple products, they refuse to use Android products. They're not going to use Windows computers. They're just so loyal. And I've been watching a lot of YouTubers now. It just seems like almost every YouTuber has Apple products. So there's a strong brand there. When it comes to Apple, you're buying quality, one of the best, if not the best companies in the world. So, like I said, what I'm personally doing is, like I said, you should do what's best for you in your terms of your account. But me personally, I don't trade Apple stock. I've done that in the past. It's been a mistake now. I just added to my retirement. I buy monthly. So I don't even buy dips anymore because, I don't want to wait for a dip. Perhaps I might have to wait 3 months or 6 months. I dollar cost average with Apple. If I'm buying like a lower quality company, I might wait for a dip in price. But with Apple, I want to add to the account every month because I've been doing a lot of reading again, and I've read people that have done really, really well with Apple stock. Maybe they bought the stock 15 years ago and they said they did really well, but they would have done even better if they had bought on regular basis. So that's what I'm doing with this Apple. I know they're going to come out with new products. I know they're going to update their stuff. They have the tightest game, if not the best game, in technology. So that's what I'm doing with Apple stock, guys. I'll wrap this video up. Okay, guys, so now I'm going to basically wrap this video up. The last point I want to talk about is earnings. So Apple earnings is expected to release on October 29th. So, that's just around 3 weeks from now, about 20 days as of posting this video. And I think that Apple is going to impress with earnings. I think the worst of, of the pandemic is kind of behind Apple. Apple is definitely going to see a bump in those streaming numbers where a lot of people are sitting at home watching Apple Plus. And I really think that they're going to have a good earnings report. So this could be the last chance to kind of get Apple stock near $100 or more. It already went to $130. So if it soars past there, it's probably heading to $150, and this whole $115 price point will be gone. So that's what I'm doing with Apple stock, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. So like I said, please subscribe to my channel. I try to post videos regularly on stocks that can make you money, and also stocks that I'm personally holding. So full disclosure, I am an Apple shareholder, and I think that Apple is headed to 150. I'm not exactly sure when, but I'm sure that next upcoming earnings report will be a nice catalyst. So that's it for now, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, take care.